St. Louis sports fans, go deeper with STL Sports Central Insiders. Get exclusive access to Bernie, Randy, Claves, Jamal Mayers, and more, plus your chance to watch a Blues game in the alumni box with Jamal himself. Monthly giveaways, Bernie's columns all week, and support for local sports media. Join now at stlsportscentral.com.
And welcome into the Mizzou Central Postgame Show right here on STL Sports Central. He is Vic Faust. I'm Chris Pelican. Tigers win 31-17 to wrap up their regular season with a big win at Arkansas. They finished the regular season 8-4, 4-4 in conference play. Arkansas, we like saying this, Vic, finishes 2-10 on the year and 0-8 in SEC play. So good for them, folks. As always, Vic and I will be pushing this thing around a little bit for the next hour or so, but we need your comments. So jump into the YouTube chat. Let us know your thoughts on this. Vic, what's going on?
I was just joking. I was like, do we have enough to talk about for an hour?
We got plenty to talk about, buddy. Anyway, while you're in there, folks, jump into those comments. Let us know your thoughts. Hit the like and subscribe button while you're there. Obviously, a lot of things going on here at STL Sports Central, as you just saw in the opening as well, our new insider program as well. So we invite you to jump in on that. So, Vic, again, yes, obviously a blah game in a lot of ways, but, the Tigers finished the season 8-4. It is not what most people wanted. There's no two ways about that. They were a couple wins away from probably being in the conversation. We can look at the OU game and the Vandy game and say those were two that got away. And, if they win this game, if they win those games tonight, right now, we're talking about the scenarios that get them into the playoff, which probably were not going to be realistic. Anyway, but, give me your thoughts on what you saw today down in Fayetteville and maybe a little bit of a bigger picture thought as well.
First of all, good to join you, bud. I'm happy. They won. They pulled away. They did what they had to do. Okay. They beat a team, granted 2 wins. But if you go through and look at the scores from Arkansas and the teams that they played this year, Ole Miss, just by a couple points, they lost by. Tennessee, just by a couple points. So they played teams very well. Missouri went in and did exactly what they were supposed to do. I'm in a catch-22 because yes, I'm happy about 8-4. Gosh, but I don't want to dumb it down because 8-4 is great, but you're 4-4 in conference, and it's the old adage. We lost all 4 top teams that we played, and we beat the teams that we were favored by. If you bet on today's game, I told people to take Missouri and give up the points. I hope you took my advice this week on our MIZSTL show and last week because Missouri covered, obviously, but when you run all over a team and you win on the road by multiple touchdowns, you should be really happy. But with 25 passing yards, I start to think about the future. So I'm trying to focus on the now and be grateful for what we accomplished. We as Missouri went 8-4. Okay, that's something to be proud of. It's better than a whole lot of other SEC teams. But 25 yards of passing, and that's why we couldn't beat the teams that were ranked above us because, and I get concerned about next year. And then I start to get bittersweet because I look at all these players on this team today that we might see in a bowl, but we won't see next year. But all in all, the defense, while they started out poor, they shut down an offense that has been putting up a lot of points and a lot of yards on everybody in the SEC.
Absolutely. And Vic, you point this out, and I will say that I traded texts with a friend early in the game, and you talked about Bo Prabula, 4 for 7, 25 yards passing, did run the ball 16 times for 78 yards and a score.
Yeah.
But I will say, okay, and this was the common theme every time Mizzou lost a game this year, and they gave up on the run because they were behind, and it was always, why did you not keep feeding the ball to Hardy? And I will say that, like, in those games, generally speaking, I didn't hate that they stopped running the ball because against a lot of these teams, that stretch play was getting snuffed out pretty good, right? Like, they were they were shooting gaps and it just, and you and I talked a lot about Kirby Moore's lack of creativity in the run game, finding different ways to move, sort of that point of attack and that sort of thing. And that's a different story. Today, I will say, I'm watching that game and I'm watching our offensive line push their defensive line back the entire day. And I texted my friend and I said, this is the kind of day where I'm fine with 50 rushes on the day, right? Like you didn't have to throw the ball. And Vic, again, to your point, if you want to beat Texas A&M, if you want to beat Georgia, that doesn't work. There's never going to be a time where 50 rushes and 7 pass attempts is going to beat a Georgia or a top 10 team.
Nope.
No two ways about it. I guess if you end up with, the Hogs from the Redskins in the 70s and the greatest offensive line in the history of sports, maybe, but I mean, that's just not a reality. Balance is what makes football, right? There's no two ways about that. So I didn't hate that they ran it the whole day today because clearly Arkansas was not standing up at the point of attack. So that being said, we can dive into maybe a little bit bigger of an issue. And, we've had a few people already comment about Bo Pribula today. And, the truth is that when he did have his throws, they didn't look great. Granted, 7 attempts, not a lot. But boy, we are in a weird spot, aren't we, right now as a program with the quarterback situation? Because, what do you do, right? I mean, again, let's understand that one thing real quick, just so everybody's aware. And the transfer portal window has changed in college football at this point in time. So now it does not open until January 2nd. Okay. So whereas Bo Pribula had to make a strange decision last year prior to, his team jumping into the college football playoff, because that's when the window was open, that's not going to be the case this year. So we're not going to run into the situation where Drink and Kirby Moore or whoever his coordinator is has to decide within a few weeks whether or not Bo Pribula is their guy. But Vic, I don't know, because in the past, you're always like, well, yeah, we need guys who have more years in the program. We want experience, right? So here he is, this returning starter, right? That's a good thing. But boy, he seems, this is just me, there is a very low ceiling with Bo Pribula as your quarterback, and it is where we are at right now, which is cusp top 25 team. Your thoughts?
If you want the season next year that we had this year, then you bring Bo Pribula back. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, there's not a lot of skill set that can be added when you're his age in college when it comes to throwing the football downfield. There just can't be, unless he's got wide open receivers. Ask any coach. They know it. They know what they have in Bo Pribula. Right? He's a leader. He's gutsy. He can run the heck out of the ball. He cannot throw the downfield pass with consistency against the kind of talent that they play against. That's the bottom line. So then you're left with Zollers. Is he going to be ready next year that quick after what we saw this year? But he's got the ceiling. Is that the quarterback you would go lead expectations are next year? So much by the transfer portal. So that's what we have to remember. What the team that you see right now is not going to be the team that you see next season. It's just not. On offense, we talk about at least 3 linemen that they lose. And I'm saying Aiden Green's gone. I've told you that. Then I'll be shocked if Jamal Roberts is back. Then you're going to have to pay Hardy more. Let's hope that our receivers stay around. But you still got to bring some guys in. Norfleet will be back. And by the way, he did not have a good day today. I know that he couldn't get his feet right, and a lot of Tigers had problems on wet grass. They're not used to playing on wet grass, but it was bad. So that team, from an offensive standpoint, is going to look different. And defensively, they're going to look a whole lot different. So they could do this run thing this year and rely on their defense. I don't see any way in hell they have even close to the defense next year that they have right now. I don't know if there's enough guys in the portal, and I know that Eli's already told us they don't have enough money yet to go get all the guys that he wants. So offensively, I'm concerned that is it a third guy? It might be a third guy. And I love Bo Pribula. I do. I love him. But I don't think he's the guy that beats any of those top 10 teams that you can't beat right now.
He is former Tiger tight end and broadcaster Vic Faust. I'm Chris Pelican. This is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show right here on STL Sports Central. Vic, I know that there's no inside information on this because the decision has not been made. Do you think Bo Pribula is a Missouri Tiger next year?
With what I know right now, I would have to say yes, he would still be a Tiger. But then I'm like, they can't pay him and pay another guy.
Agreed. Well, they did pay Sam
I,
Horn a bunch. That's the crazy part, right? I mean, if you believe that Washington Post article that was done early in the year about the
but,
two-star, Sam Horn was making over $1 million. So maybe the quarterback pool is there. There's cash
but
there.
here's the thing: talking today, I say yes, but here's the thing: I don't know who's going to be in the transfer portal. That's why it's impossible, because nobody would have thought that Bo Prabula would have been here last year at this time. So it's really, really tough because of these rules. And then, of course, as you brought up, come January, I just know in my heart of hearts, it has to be somebody else. And I hate saying that under this new concept of football. It's so bizarre and weird and foreign to me to have to say that and think that after he was been so gutsy and helped his team, and he helped him win today by running the football and being a leader. I don't know if they could bring him back in the offense the way that it is. I just don't see that happening. Let's see what happens with their bowl game. It also gives Matt Zollers another month to prepare and get ready. And I certainly hope we see Matt Zollers in that bowl game. We better see Matt Zollers in the bowl game.
Okay, part 2 of my question: is Kirby Moore the Missouri Tiger next year?
Well, I thought that he did fairly well today. He obviously can script plays, right? Can we all agree on that? He comes out and his team looks pretty good with the scripted plays.
First drive always looks good, doesn't it?
It's like he's the mad scientist. Reminds me of the Mike Martz days, the greatest show on turf with the Rams. And then all of a sudden, teams catch up. And then we went through a lull today on the offensive side until the second half. And I won't tell you my playmaking play of the day yet, but when Missouri got back to doing things well, they started to open up holes. And it wasn't necessarily because there was more creative play calling. It was because the Lions started to assert themselves and the run game started to beat Arkansas down a little bit. If I'd have to say he's coming back, I'll go out on a limb. Eli, I say no.
You know what? And Vic, I mean, like, again, there's no inside information behind this.
Eli ripped the play calling the 3 of the last 4 weeks, like really bad. Like he was like calling out Kirby Moore in the press conferences. So I say no.
Yeah, and let's be real about this. Okay, he just signs an extension. He is one of the top 10 highest paid coaches in the country. The expectation from this fan base seems to be, at this point in time, you've got to contend for that playoffs, right? Like, hey, if at a bare minimum, if they had gone 10-2 and they'd beaten OU, they'd beaten Vandy, and we are talking today about all the permutations and what has to happen and who we have to root for tonight, like, and then they don't get in, I think people are okay with that. Like, it's, you go 10-2, you almost get in, hey, maybe if we could have figured out a way to beat Alabama, it would have been a different story, so on. They obviously are not in the equation. They lost the 4 games that were going to decide their season. And so if Eli Drinkwitz is going to sit here and pretend to be a top 10 coach in the country, they got to figure out a way to get to that point. And, this is a really tough one, but it is hard for me to look at what Bo Prabula did this year and what Kirby Moore did with the offense and say, this is the combination that is going to lead this team to 10 wins. I just don't see it.
It won't be. And that's interesting when you bring that up, because as the way the season's ending, let's say Missouri finished 10-2 this year. At this point, I still don't know if it would have been enough to get them in the playoff.
Yeah, it would have been.
I think I would have put Texas in over them if they finished 10-2 and Texas with their record. And
Texas got. Yeah, but they got that Florida loss hanging over them, and there's
compare. Would you put? Well, let me ask you this real quick, not to get off. Compare the wins that Texas has compared to Notre Dame. Not even close. Not even close. Notre Dame has one win over ranked team.
Yep, 3 top 10 wins.
Top 10. And 2 of their losses are to top 10. So Steve
Sarkisian made the point. Why would we ever play Ohio State again if you're going to punish us for playing them and getting that loss? And I think the answer is you lost to Florida. Okay. Like that's where this all stops.
They deserve if Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I think
It's going to be
get a better resume than Notre Dame. So if you're Notre Dame, you better protect us. And what makes me think about that is I'm not so sure that a 10-2 Missouri team with only one win against a top 10 team would have got Missouri in, as luck has had it anyway.
It would have been 2, right? Because OU and Vandy were both top 10 teams when they played them, had they won those games. So, you know, again, it would have been interesting. It would have been really interesting and a lot of fun to talk about.
It would have been tight. But we're not there. And you bring up a great point. Prebula and Kirby Moore is not the combo for next year. It's not. Missouri fans know that. We know that. I think it's pretty clear. Now, Eli made money, and he was given the vote of confidence. It's time. You know what? What are you going to do? Because now the fan base, as you said, we're tired of 8-win seasons. We're tired of 8-win seasons. Go figure.
Would they have ever said that when you were playing, my friend?
No, and many other Tigers too. So it's one of those things, how things have changed. Now we're beating the teams. How about let's start with one win over a top 15, top 10 team next year. I'm telling you, what's up last week. I started looking down the list of all the guys who are going to be gone next year. A lot.
But Vic, I will say, you got to admit that is the beauty of the portal. You know, the portal taketh away, the portal giveth though as well. There's no two ways about that, right? You know, so and honestly, what I think Mizzou paid for this, you know, this week by giving Eli Drinkwitz $10+ million is one of the best portal navigators in all of college football. So again, like what is going to happen?
Yeah, he's proven that.
No one knows. And this, you know, you and I we could talk for 5 hours about how much I dislike this new system, but the system is what it is. And the truth is, at this point in time, we're all sitting there saying, hey, you know, it's going to be great. Let's, you know, could Ahmad Hardy go for 2,000 next year? Hey guys, guess what? There is a chance Ahmad Hardy is not playing for Mizzou next year because some booster from Ohio State gives him $5 million to go play there. You know, Josiah Trotter, who was a great, you know, I mean, a blast to watch, 10 tackles today, just energy in the middle of that defense. He might not play. You have no idea who's coming back next year. None whatsoever. But I will say that I feel like the history shows that Drink has handled this better. I think he's been more plus than negative in the portal for all its existence.
But Chris, when's the last time you heard Eli talking publicly, begging and pleading for NIL money? This was the first time a few weeks ago. You know why, right? Yep. That's because the prices have gone up and the rest of the SEC conference has arrived. Believe it or not, Missouri fans, Drake was ahead of the game in the portal. He really was. And we had a big donation at the right time. We were willing to spend. And as he told everybody now, we're not spending. We're not even near the top in NIL spending. So they did a good job with the kids that they went after, putting them into good spots. But for whatever reason, we didn't hit on Prebula. We did not hit on the quarterback. And there were only a couple that really hit big when you think about it from this last year transfer portal. Chambliss with Ole Miss, and who would have known that was going to happen from a Division II to as good as he's been. And Mendoza, and Missouri was in on the hunt with Mendoza, but he chose Indiana. So it is what it is. Missouri's got to find a quarterback, and they got to find some linemen and some D linemen, and then we wait to see what happens in their secondary and with Trotter. I'm hopeful that Trotter stays, because one thing about a linebacker, and I know this from playing both sides of the ball at Mizzou, when you find a home and you find a defensive coordinator that puts you in good spots and you work within that defense well, you don't want to go mess with other defensive coordinators. You don't. I think they're going to find a way to pay him, and I think I do think that he would stay for less money so that he could show his skills and really be in a good position to get drafted for the NFL after the following year.
I hope
his dad knows where he needs to be.
His dad knows exactly where he needs to be. That is former Tiger.
And money is not an issue.
Hope that's the case. He is Vic Faust. I'm Chris Pelican. This is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show, and it is brought to you in part by the Legal Buddy app. Folks, life happens fast. 1 minute you're driving home, the next flashing lights are in the rear view. When trouble knocks, answer with confidence. With the Legal Buddy app, you can connect to a local attorney in seconds, whether it's a DWI, car accident, criminal charge, or a traffic ticket. Download the Legal Buddy app today at legalbuddyapp.com. Register and use code LEGAL, that's LEGAL, to enter for a chance to win a $250 Amazon gift card, always on your side. That is the Legal Buddy app. So, Vic, Tigers win again today by a final of 31-17. They improved 8-4 on the season. In Fayetteville was today's game. Obviously, we haven't talked a ton about Ahmad Hardy's day today. We've had a few questions about where he ended up ranking in FCS overall rushing totals, and I believe he ended up second for the season.
That's where he's going to be.
Behind Emmett Johnson, I believe, from Nebraska, but over 1,500 yards. I don't think it's when we found out that Kejuan Lacey was going to Ole Miss, and then when you look at what Lacey has done this year at Ole Miss, you sit there and say, oh, geez, boy, that's a huge loss for this program. And at the end of the day, I don't know that anyone will ever really remember that Kejuan Lacey was a Missouri Tiger because of Ahmad Hardy. This was a vintage Ahmad Hardy day too. Again, he didn't have 300 yards, but I mean, the caliber of his runs today, it just was, I mean, if you're a football person, how do you not watch what you saw today and just admire the kind of player Ahmad Hardy is?
I wanted to see him get another touchdown at the end of the game. I just loved what, I mean, he had 2 or 3 of those Heisman plays this year. Yeah, I know for the Heisman, but touchdown run today where he was pulled down, he couldn't be pulled down. Thought the play was the runs for a ton. It's fantastic. I do think he'll be back next year. He's running back coach, and I think they'll find a way to get him. I don't think they're going to be able to find a way to pay Jamal Roberts, and Roberts needs to be paid, and he'll go be a starter somewhere because he's good enough. And he had to take a back seat to Hardy. Hardy has been so Missouri. Won just a couple of years ago, Cody Schrader. But he does it so much differently. And I don't know. I mean, guys like this just don't come around that often, really. He's that good, that big, that strong. Take the abuse, and he demoralizes defenses. Even when the defense were so keyed on him, he could get those yards. And imagine if he had a quarterback that could somewhat consistently throw the ball down the field like 10, 15 yards and keeping the linebackers and the safety from coming line.
It's a scary thought. There's no two ways about it. And it feels like that has to be Eli Drinkwitz's entire motivation with his offensive team going into this offseason. It has to be finding a coordinator, has to be finding a quarterback who can make it to where there are not 8 guys in the box every time Ahmad Hardy touches the football. His numbers, by the way, today, 27 carries.
Can I add one other thing that we've got to have?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry. Get to the numbers, and then I'll bring up what else we have to have.
27 carries, 157 yards, and a touchdown. Jamal Roberts, 11 carries, 100 yards, touchdown, 2-point conversion in the end. And Bo Prabula did run 16 times for 78 yards and a touchdown. So once again, the team over 300 yards rushing as a team. Obviously this has been Drink's MO with this, with the Tigers. This is a running football team. But again, to your point, 1000% agree. The lack of fear of the ball going down the field vertically has made it so much easier for defenses and linebackers and safeties to key on that box, attack that downhill run. And, we saw the stat today, which was the craziest, which was Ahmad Hardy also has over 1,000 yards this year after contact. I mean, it's insane.
They didn't say if that's ever happened. I wonder if that's ever happened in college football since they've kept track. I doubt it. No way.
I don't know off the top of my head.
No way. I've never seen anything like this before.
Maybe Ron Dane, remember the old Wisconsin guy
got
he got 2,000 in a year once, and that guy was obviously one who did not get away from contact real well. He just ran.
No, he was a tackle to tackle guy. That's for sure. I mean, battering ram. That's why I just love Hardy. Always has a smile on his face. It seemed like he didn't mind giving up carries to Jamal Roberts either. And even today, when they came out of the gate and they didn't use him, and Kirby Moore showed us how of a genius coordinator is when he's able to script plays to start a game. I mean, I was guessing. I was like, whoa, 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 this is amazing. What? I mean,
Well,
and Hardy wasn't getting the ball. And
it was
he didn't look like he was upset. And then he gets his chance and he just makes the most of it.
couldn't agree more. I thought the Prebula designed runs to start the game were fantastic. That wasn't on anyone's bingo card, as they might say. And lo and behold,
no, that's for sure.
That's why they.
You know what else wasn't on my bingo card today?
What's that?
Us auditioning a long snapper during the actual game.
I'm glad. I'm glad you made the transition for us. So again, I don't know if you've ever met Eric Lincoln. I assume he's a nice man. I have not met him, but I met him
once, but I guarantee he doesn't remember meeting me.
Well, and I will just say, the guy got dealt a pretty bad hand when his kicker got hurt on the first play, basically of the season. Okay, so that being said, hey, I'll say, hey, I'm trying to lay out the cards a little bit here. Almost every other facet of the special teams play this year was horrifically bad. And hey, Kevin Coleman maybe threw his own little Hail Mary to Eric Link at the end there, but with the punt return for a touchdown. But I mean, boy, special teams were an adventure of epic proportions this year. And we sat there and spent 10 minutes talking about Kirby Moore's future. I mean, and again, I don't wish ill on anyone, especially around the holidays. And Eric Link makes a good amount. Drink cannot bring him back, can he? There has to be a statement.
Special teams coach. No, right. As tight ends coach, yes, he's a good tight ends coach. Special teams and tight end, no. If that happens, Missouri should not buy. Fans should not buy any tickets. They should revolt at the special teams that we had to. This was the worst year of special teams that I've seen since I've been involved with Missouri football, going back to 1989. It is the worst, and it was something every week. And you know that. It was something every week.
Unfortunately, something different too.
For Kevin Coleman. Kevin Coleman realized, we don't know what the forward pass is anymore. I'm never going to get touchdowns like I used to get. I better get a touchdown, return it a punt, or I'll never see the end zone before my career's over.
That's it. The only way. Yeah. And I mean, like, again, it's, I don't really know what to say.
It's not working. Link's gone. It's fine. Link's gone. He will not be brought back in that role. And it had so much more to do than a kicker hurting his knee. And then we see another kicker who was better than the guy that we put out week after week after week. And then the punting issues. I mean, it was one thing after the other this year. I called it out 5 weeks ago. I said, give the job to Brock Olivo, my former teammate. And yeah, am I biased? Yeah, but I'm telling you, everything he does is 100%, and he will not let any of that crap happen again. I promise you.
Well, it seems like a very easy fix, right? He's in-house. He's there. Give him the job. Let him run roughshod with it. I think it's a fantastic idea. I would hope that happens, because again, it's you're talking about, and Vic, former tight end, played under Larry Smith for a while, played under Stull for a little bit, but Gary Pinkel was a guy who you covered as broadcaster, as I did as well. And I remember
became friends with Gary.
And I remember Pinkel talking all the time about critical mistakes, couldn't make critical mistakes. And, in his mind, that was like a holding call. This Mizzou team and its critical mistakes, I mean, have gone to a different level. The Prebula fumble, scoop score, I mean, like,
that's so bad.
This point spread was a 4.5 point game, which like surprised me. I thought I could see why there was some issues with maybe the motivation levels of Mizzou in this thing. But having said that, like, you're sitting there and you're going, if you watch this game from beginning to end, the only reason that it wasn't a 40-point game is that Mizzou kept making these insanely awful mistakes that kept Arkansas in the game. And,
that's true, but we finally found a team that was more undisciplined than us.
I mean, insane.
They had like 17 penalties.
It was actually 17. Yep, 17 penalties for almost.
What the heck?
30 yards.
When's the last time you saw a team that Missouri play get 17 penalties?
And the best part about
it's impossible to get 17 penalties in a game.
Was Bobby Petrino losing his mind on the sideline, and my son and I are sitting there watching the game, and he looks at me and says, "I kind of think that like they've been lucky. They could have had about 10 more at different points. They held on almost every single, because they could not handle the defensive line. Could not
Your
handle.
son's right, because they were holding a lot.
And I'm watching that thing, and it's like, and I know that at some point officials try to level things out, but I mean, it was blatant and it was terrible. And I mean, like, it surprises me. I mean, Bobby Petrino is as goofy of a human being as he is. That guy coaches offense pretty well. And I mean, for his team to just be as undisciplined and out there, you know, it's insane. I mean, no idea how
Chris
they
asked me if I'd like Bobby Petrino as our offensive coordinator.
It is hilarious because I got the same text from somebody.
Yes, I would. I would take it today.
I think.
Could you imagine him and Drake? You think of Rocker wanting Bobby Petrino as offensive coordinator?
I think there are better options. That's what I'd say.
Okay.
Without like a horrible human being and big, you know.
I know.
In the process as well. I don't know. You know, I mean, yeah, the guy coaches offense. There's no two ways about it. I mean, Talon Green was all, you know, the team wins 2 games. He leads the nation in total offense. I mean, like it's a crazy thing, you know, like, I mean, they obviously scored points this year, just couldn't stop anyone from scoring points. So I don't know. I think it's pretty clear that he will not be back at Arkansas. I think they've got their you know, like on Golsh, I think from South Florida is the guy who seemingly is locked in on that job. He certainly would not keep Petrino on staff. He'll be a free agent, you know, so who knows? Your wish might come true. I love
our run game. I just would like to see a couple passes over 20 yards again. I mean, the forward pass is a good thing. I promise you it is. And you need to be able to have the forward pass to beat top 10 teams. You just got to.
Yeah.
I mean, the Army style of football is nice, but it doesn't beat top 10 teams.
It does not. Actually, another funny text I got from my brother, current University of Missouri Business School of Business professor, Jack Pelican, says that Drink is actually going to leave for the Navy job because he is all into the 50 plus runs a game. And I'm like, there it is. I mean, he's got that offense set up. So, you know, but I mean, again, it's today was a day where it worked, you know, it worked, but obviously to your point, it's not going to work when they need when Georgia comes to town or when they play Texas or those sort of things.
Yeah.
So
you look at their defense was literally one of the worst defenses in America, one of the worst. So that's why you could get away and do that.
100%. This is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show right here on STL Sports Central. He is former Tiger tight end and broadcaster Vic Faust. I am Chris Pelican. And folks, this postgame show is brought to you by our home business banking partners at Home Bank. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business is not just about numbers, it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC, more than a bank. They are your business partner, and they do bring us the money moment of the game. Vic Faust, what is your Home Bank money moment of the game today?
There was only one. It was Mr. Hardy. Looks like he's been tackled for a 3-yard loss. He's got a 375-pound defensive lineman hanging on him, trying to drag him to the ground. He's got 2 other Arkansas pig suey sloppy D linemen or linebackers trying to pull him down, and it wasn't enough. And then he runs for what is one of the best Missouri running back highlights you can ever imagine, and it put Missouri up for the first time, and then for the final time, Missouri took the lead and they never looked back.
I couldn't agree more. Matt, maybe Kevin Coleman's punt return right on in there. Grant Salzman is now joining us, or at least his is, from down from Fayetteville, Arkansas, at Reynolds Stadium. He just got out of the post-game press conference with Coach Drinkwitz. And Grant, we will let you jump in real quick here before anything, and we want to hear what the breakdown was. We would love your take on the money moment of the game, brought to you by Home Bank.
So, sorry, I had to hold you close to the ear. My sound's bad right now. I'd say my money moment of the game is the Ahmad Hardy touchdown run. I mean, doesn't get pulled down, breaks it for 60. That's really when it felt like after some tough special teams, Missouri was going to find a way and win the football game.
I agree with you. No doubt about that. And that is the money moment of the game. And it's brought to you by Home Bank, the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Grant Salzman apparently was just abducted by Arkansas fans. Grant, you still there,
do
buddy?
they have Wi-Fi in Arkansas yet?
I'm here. I'm here.
They may not even have running. Well, they just recently got running water down there in Arkansas.
He's actually, I think his 10,000 free hours of AOL just expired. So it's his dial-up is no longer working. So Grant, folks, Grant Salzman, like I said, down in Fayetteville, covering the Tigers for STL Sports Central. And Grant, what was the message after the game from Coach Drinkwitz and company?
Yeah, here, I'll give you a long spiel because I can barely hear, so I'll just give you everything right now.
Fair enough.
I'd say the biggest thing was Drink talked about kind of the timing of his contract extension. Said he was pretty pissed off with the media, how the speculating and all of that. He said there's a video of a fan yelling at him, telling him he's going to leave, telling the player he's going to leave at the Oklahoma game. He said that made him really mad. He responded. And then after the game, he went to Laird Beach, texted him, let's get something done. They worked through the week, got something done. He's extended Thursday, said this one felt really good on Saturday.
Yeah, I'd have to say, and no one did call him a hoe, by the way. Let's just get that out there.
Nobody called him a hoe.
Let our viewers and listeners know what you're referring to.
Well, of course, if you didn't see yesterday when Lane Kiffin apparently confronted a reporter at Grant Salzman of Ole Miss and came after him because the guy had said you can't make a hoe into a housewife, talking about Lane Kiffin and making him loyal to the Ole Miss program. And Lane found the guy
Grant Salzman would never ask that.
Right after the Egg Bowl and let him have it. Told him to want to call me a hoe, step out here and let's see what happens. And so apparently Lane Kiffin, tough guy there as well. So yeah, in any case, Grant, so talked about the extension. What do you have to say about the game today? Maybe the season in general?
Yeah, he had to say that while, obviously things weren't what Missouri wanted. He said, their first goal of SEC championship was taken away from them. And then the second goal of making the playoffs was taken in. He said something to be proud of. He said it's a good season, not a great season, but you go 8-4, you win the games you're supposed to win, you have a chance in a bowl game to win 9. And with Drink re-signing, I think it's a sign of a chance to continue momentum. 6-6, 7-5, all of a sudden it's a step back. This way you're able to continue some momentum. And I think on top of it too, when we go to the game, he said his message at halftime was simple. We handed them 10 points. I mean, the special teams was god-awful once again. High snap on an extra point. And then obviously Bo Prabula, the ball flips out of his hand. They take it to the house on a scoop and score. And he said after that, wet ball, let's just run the ball. We're running it well. We don't need to throw. He said that was kind of the moment that they decided, let's just pound the rock, and it worked. If you take away sacks, Prabula had 100 yards rushing. Jamal Roberts has 100 yards rushing. And Ahmad Hardy just over 100 yards, almost led the nation in rushing with that performance after the regular season. I think was about 10 yards short. So Drink said his message was simple. Let's go. Let's pound the rock. And defense keep playing good defense. Let's go on a run. A run is they come out, they get a stop, they score, they get a stop, they score. And that's what the Tigers did, and it shut them out.
Grant, I'm curious. One question before we let you roll. Yeah. Did he talk at all about what's next, right? Like, so obviously they sit back and they wait to find their bowl destination. Vic had mentioned earlier that if we don't see Matt Zollers in the bowl game, then that's a huge missed opportunity. Did he say anything at all about whether or not, what his thoughts are on the bowl game? Is it more important to get guys work, maybe get some younger guys some actual playing time, or, and again, he's never going to say it's not important to win the game, but I mean, did he allude to anything about maybe the next 4 to 6 weeks?
Real quick, look at this, what I'm walking by now. There's a bunch of little hog memorial for you, little hog fountain.
There it is.
But no bowl talk.
It's not. That is just not a good college town. I'm sorry, it's not. I love Columbia.
Don't get the Fayetteville faithful on your bad side, Vic Faust.
Am I bad?
I'm going after them right now.
We got you, Grant. We got you, Grant.
No bull talk from Drink. He did go big picture and talked about more of how this win and this season helps keeping momentum going, recruiting, the fans, just everyone involved more. So he went bigger picture than the bowl. I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more in the coming weeks about what the bowl preparation will look like, who's going to sit out, who gets opportunities, will Matt Zollers play. I think we'll see more of that as we go on.
Well, Grant, we greatly appreciate your time, my friend, as always. Thanks for covering a good one. Thanks for being a part of this whole season. We got one more, and we will certainly let you rip when we have you there. But there goes Grant Salzman. So,
and by the way, we wanted to remind people, Grant and I do the MTL show every Monday from 10 to 11 a.m. as well in St. Louis. You can catch us on YouTube with our MIZSTL show.
It is a
point. You can also catch us on 590 AM.
There we go. He is Vic Faust, former Tiger tight end broadcaster. I'm Chris Pelican. This is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show. Mizzou wins 31-17 at Arkansas. They wrap up their regular season 8-4, 4-4 in SEC play. And Vic, let's chat a bit about what's next. Okay. Now, in your minds, again, when you played, the bowl thing was a big deal, obviously, and then the whole world changed. Guys opt out of bowls. It's not a big deal apparently anymore. Coaches want it because it gets them 4 weeks of extra practice for the following season, all that sort of stuff. There are multiple bowl scenarios for this team right now. I don't know if you care, but I'm going to go ahead and throw them out to you.
Sure.
So the ones that we see most prominently, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which is great because the coach gets now with Mayo. That would be against an ACC opponent. Louisville or Duke are mentioned most commonly as potential opponents for Mizzou. There is the Music City Bowl against a Big Ten opponent. Illinois and Nebraska seem to be the ones that are most commonly mentioned in that discussion. And then the Texas Bowl is the only other one where the Tigers seem to be getting moved towards, and that is against a Big 12 team. Houston and Iowa State are the most common opponents mentioned in that one. Any thoughts on those bowl games and whether or not you'd like to see one in particular?
Personally, I don't. The staff usually has an idea. Maybe there's somebody they want to be seen by, whatever their case. Maybe they're looking. I mean, recruiting's even changed. Now they're not even worried about getting high school notoriety. I mean, everything is so different. We're trying to catch up. I don't care what bowl game they're going to. I don't even care who they're playing. I'm more concerned with who stays, if they keep these guys, if they're going to come back and play, because they have several guys who are seniors who I think are going to the NFL. And I said this last week, where the age, it's not what they want to do. And I know you may disagree, maybe agree with me a little bit, but guys that I want to see play, like almost our whole D line.
We got frozen Vic. Let's see if he pops back up. Not frozen in the most flattering spot. Oh, there. Yep. Well, while Vic unfreezes, I'm going to let you know, in my estimation, and I will say, I love Larry Lovelace just popped on, said he hopes a Big 10 or an old Big 8 team for the bowl. Again, we are going to see Illinois shortly on the schedule, but again, I hate that we don't play Illinois on a regular basis. So I would be in favor of that one. And then, the Texas Bowl, so be it. Houston, Iowa State, obviously Iowa State would be the more fun one in that one, but Music City Bowl could also possibly Nebraska. If you can play against a team that you have some history with, I think that's a fantastic thing. There's no two ways about it. The Duke's Mayo one's just a little bit interesting because it's one they haven't played in. It's in Charlotte, so it's a different kind of travel setup for Mizzou fans. And then the two possible opponents, Louisville and Duke. The interesting thing about playing Louisville possibly would be that the original choice of the Tigers at quarterback before Bo Pribula, before even the Fernando Mendoza offer went out at that point in time, was Miller Moss, the USC quarterback who chose Louisville over the Tigers. And so it might be interesting to see might be interesting to see them play against Louisville and see Miller Moss and sit there and say, boy, this guy actually spins the ball pretty well. How would this have been had we had him all year? So we got Vic Faust back. So we were just sort of talking about some of the options with the Bulls, and we lost you early on. I was just saying,
Louisville's good.
Yeah. Well, and it wouldn't be fun to see the Miller Moss, the guy who really was apparently the first choice of this coaching staff to be, and then he announced he chose Louisville. I got to say it the right way.
Louisville.
Over the Tigers. And so I think it might be fun just to watch that game and sit there and watch him probably throw for 250 or something like that and be like, he might have been an interesting piece to our puzzle.
I mean, Louisville's good. It's the Iowa State would be an interesting matchup as well, just from the old days. We did the Iowa thing last year. It's any of those teams we're favorites against. So, as long as we have the team that we have playing right now, as long as all the guys are playing.
Would you want to see an Illinois game? We've got them back on the schedule sooner than later, so I don't know.
What? I would not mind an Illinois game. I think there'd be some interest to it. Why not? We beat Kansas. We beat Arkansas. Let's go beat the other one early and then beat them again next year.
Regional
Missouri's
dominance.
a much better team than Illinois. They are.
Yeah. I would
currently assembled.
I would agree with that. I think it'd be a fun game. A couple of teams that run the ball pretty well. You'd see some kind of good old fashioned, lineup.
Illinois has no defense. No defense.
They don't play
They're good
much
on offense and no defense.
I wanted to jump into something before we start wrapping this thing up because our old buddy Ray Beiersdorf, I think I say his name right, jumped in with a comment. He's asking about the portal, and he asked if players have to be in the portal before they're offered money to switch. Or is every player considered a free agent portal or not? And look, I think the truth is according to the letter of the law, you're not allowed to talk to somebody unless they're in the portal. But the thing that you will see a lot, and this is where you laugh a little bit about this whole setup, is you can enter the portal with a please do not contact me designation. Okay. So point being, some guys will go into the portal and say, I don't want to hear from anyone. And so you sit there and say, well, how is this possible? Well, clearly they've already got a deal worked out with another school before, right? And so it's so again,
I know a person making $1.5 million in the Big Ten right now who knew what they would get before they entered. So it's happening. Just 100%. Yes, they know. They know.
The NCAA would tell you that's not the case, but that is 100% the case.
The NCAA is nothing anymore. Thank God.
Yeah, they
allowed this, and now this has become bigger than them.
This is an interesting question, Vic. And we got a little bit of time. We'll, I want to veer off this course. You are an actual Division I athlete, and I'm curious about this because I have the take on the NCAA that they've been given an impossible task, right? You're trying to maintain amateurism in a $9 billion industry. Okay. You've got two completely different goals that are trying to be met. So I don't always kind of crap on the NCAA because I think that no matter what they do, at the end of the day, at this point in time, there's a court somewhere that's going to overrule them. So they are completely and totally impotent. They've got no say in anything at this point in time. And the truth is, I hate this because you know what? And maybe I'm wrong on this, but as in the name of fairness, right? Oh, these are the players who are the ones who are the driving engine behind all of this revenue and so on and so forth. The problem that I have with
talking fairness.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it's
that's my Allen Iverson practice. Are we talking fairness?
Well, that's what all of this legislation has been passed under the guise of fairness, right? The players should get more money because they're the ones who earn it. That's fine and dandy. The rub I have is that the money, that $9 billion that goes to intercollegiate athletics via the networks and whatnot, that goes back to the schools and that funds all the sports that don't make money, right? Anyone who's got a daughter who maybe wants to play college sports, like I see this scenario where at some point football and basketball take all of the money from these because it's like, they base, well, we're the ones who are in, and then at that point in time, what funds women's soccer?
That
what
is
funds
happening.
all
that
these
is
other
happening.
sports?
You're right.
And I think it's terrible.
But that's going to happen at some point. It is.
So
you're
Carson,
right. It's already happening, Chris.
Yeah. So Carson
schools.
Beck can drive a Lamborghini around Miami, So that means that we can't fund, track scholarships or something. It just
We're
sort of
not
like
there yet. I'd like to think that something will happen at that point in time, that schools will find somehow, some way to at least get those programs by. Are we headed there? Yeah, that's exactly what's headed. Um, you can't even have walk-ons anymore. I mean, they have preferred walk-ons, and in many cases, the preferred walk-ons now have to be paid as well for football. So you've got a lot of these situations going on. The NCAA for many years kicked the can down the road. So they got exactly what they deserved. The NCAA deserves everything. You will not hear me try to like, oh, NCAA can't. No, the NCAA screwed kids for many years, and not just on the money aspect. They screwed kids when they allowed the coaches to leave and go to other schools when those coaches were the ones that recruited the kids. And they're like, well, you don't choose a school for the coach. You choose it. No, that's BS, because those recruiting coaches would sit in your home with you and your family and tell you that they would be there. And I knew about it personally. I chose Mizzou, and I'm glad I did, but I chose because of one guy. And then he ended up switching to a different position. And I'm like, wait a second, that's not what I signed up for. So yeah, so the NCAA deserves that, and they got very rich for a long time. I hate the situation that we're in, but yes, I do feel that the kids should be getting paid something, and that's the problem. You're never going to find a happy medium in the situation, Chris, ever.
I kind of agree. It really is a bad situation all the way around. He is Vic Faust. I'm Chris Pelican. This is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show. Tigers knock off Arkansas 31-17 today. And folks, the Mizzou Central Postgame Show is brought to you. Sorry, hold on. Hey, Missouri, big news. We got to do this the right way. It is almost your turn to get into the game because DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st. Is that like tomorrow? Pretty close. Monday, isn't it?
Monday, yep. December 1st, Monday.
Soon you will get fast payouts when you win, a safe and secure app that's easy to use, and promos that keep the action going all season long. No wonder it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. The countdown is on. New customers can sign up right now and score $300 in bonus bets on launch day. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code STL Sports. New Missouri customers sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets once we're live. That's code STL Sports. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Tigers covered the spread easily today. They win 31-17. That spread went off at about 4.5 points. Again, completely understand why. A little bit of a motivational dead zone for the Tigers at this point in time. Arkansas with their Super Bowl today didn't show up for it. At least they showed up to hold the entire game and get 16 penalties on the day with several more decline. But again, Vic, let's wrap things up. Your thoughts on an 8-4 season, a 31-17 win today. We've got one more of these to do when we find out their destination and their bowl game. But a regular season that had some high points, some low points, a lot in between. How do you tie a bow on this thing?
The season left me wanting more because this team should have won 2 more games. They should have. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. The thing that was great was the running, obviously, of Ahmad Hardy. The thing, we thought he'd be good. We didn't know he'd be that good. The other thing, Corey Batoon. Love Corey Batoon, the defense corner. The Tigers defense left us wondering, as you brought up, I think, last week, in the early few games of the season. And man, they just got better and better and better. And then, in my humble opinion, became one of the top 5 defenses in America when you consider everything. Legitimate next level players at all three levels. And they kept Missouri in this year. They had so much put on them. So that got me excited. Obviously, the thing that was frustrating about this year, missed opportunities, field goal kicking, punting, fake punts, bad snaps, and ill-timed penalties. It just undisciplined. This team has to be better at those next year if they want to be in the elite of the SEC.
Couldn't agree more with you. It seems like in certain areas they were extremely elite, but as you well know, the good teams don't make the kind of mistakes that this team made consistently through the years. So that is on Drink. That is on his staff to clean up moving forward. If this team, like we said, if they can get a little bit more traction in their passing game, if they can clean up the special teams, if they can clean up some of the mistakes that plagued them this year, they are right there. The schedule will never be easy as long as they play in the SEC, but they are on that cusp. And like you said, next year's team is going to look very different than what we're seeing right now. But at this point in time, it feels like it's a program, right? And this is a program where there's an expectation of competing for that college football playoff. And so again, a lot to like this year. I think the unfortunate, if we're going to be, if we're going to tie this thing up in a bow, I hate to say it, but Drink's continued problems in developing quarterbacks that play at a high level. And again, I'm a Brady Cook guy. I think he did a very nice job. He was a huge, much better player than Bo Prabula. So, but again, he needs to find an elite passer in order to make this team elite. And he did not do that this year. So again, one of those deals where that's, I think, the unfortunate anchor that dragged this team down this season was just an inability to be better than average at the quarterback position. So anyway, well, Vic, it's been fun, my friend. So we get a little break. These bowl games all right after Christmas, early part of New Year's. So we got.
Well, they're sending us to the bowl game, right?
Yes, first class accommodations everywhere.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we actually, if we go to the Mayo Bowl, we get doused with mayo. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, buddy.
Well, Vic, been a lot of fun, my friend, and it's been great. To all of our friends there in YouTube land, we greatly appreciate your comments and your support throughout the season. But we look forward to one more game when we find out where the Tigers go bowling, and we will tie a bow on the 2025 season at that point in time. But in the meantime, we very much appreciate you being a part of our little show here. So for Vic Faust, I'm Chris Pelican. This has been the Mizzou Central Postgame Show right here on STL Sports Central. We will see you soon enough.